Hello, this video is about a low-cost way to revive your broken Easy Go or any other type of brand golf cart charger. It requires a bit of work, but in my experience it's been worth it, and I've been using mine for over a year and it works pretty well. First thing you'll need to do is you'll need to take apart your old charger, and so you'll take the screws off the face and the back, and you'll pull the top and side shroud off, and on the inside you'll find a big transformer and your circuit and a capacitor and lots of other fun things in there. Now I prefer on mine actually to use a timer, and so I'm going to show a different charger that I've already pulled apart, pulled all the guts out, and remade it. And the circuit I used, it's not a transformer circuit, it's a little different. Cool Jewel has the circuit. He calls it his light lens generator. I've also seen the circuit by George Weissman, and he calls it the capacitive battery charger. And so I will post the circuit, but here's all that's in there. Now we've got a couple capacitors for high and low, and really I'll just show you what the parts are. We've got a push button switch, we've got a full wave bridge rectifier, a little safety device. This is a 7 amp circuit breaker, so if one of my capacitors goes out, it'll trip this breaker. And then you need I use a 50 voltmeter, and really that's about all you need. If you take you can build one without a current charger, but if you need an end, you might have to buy one of those. But you should have all that stuff if you just take a charger you have, a junk one. And so what I have is, all this push button does is it's making a contact between the positive and the negative of the battery. And so when you make the contact, it shows you the voltage. This is just the high and low switch, and it switches between which capacitor we're going to use. These capacitors in an AC circuit work just like a resistor does in a DC circuit, and so these limit the amount of current that can go into our batteries. Then we have a timer. This timer goes up to 11 hours. And then we have our circuit breaker. And so it's really basic. I mounted the rectifier down here on the bottom, and I've just strapped in the capacitor. This capacitor had a bolt on the bottom right here, so I just drilled a hole and bolted it on, and the timer was already in there. I will get the circuit and post it for you so you can see how everything is hooked up. So let's get a close-up of the inside. We have down here, we have the power coming in, we have the grounding the box, we have the neutral coming up to the side rail of the timer, and we have the AC hot coming in to the bottom of the timer, if you can see that. And then it comes out from that same spot and goes down to our circuit breaker, our 7 amp circuit breaker that we just drilled a hole and stuck it in there. And then from there it goes over to our capacitor. And from our capacitor, it's going down to our full wave bridge rectifier and over to our high-low switch. So we can add a capacitor is basically all we're doing to get the high. And capacitors work as resistors, so in an AC current, a capacitor is like a resistor. And I could show the formula for that as well, for how to regulate. One of them is a 20 microfarad and one's a 45, and my high would be 65 added together for microfarad for the capacitance. There's a formula to figure out the reactance, the capacitive reactance in an AC. So then the other leg of the full wave bridge rectifier comes from this red wire. This is the other AC leg, and it goes up to this buzzer as well. We have both of our AC legs connecting to two sides, and our DC legs. One is going up to our push button, which also goes down to our out for the connection to the golf cart, and one goes to our meter and to the positive. Actually, this would be the negative, and this one would be the positive in this particular case. I've now got the charger plugged into the golf cart, and so now we can take a look at how the voltage is sitting. This 50 volt meter here. We're at 39-ish. So we'll turn it on. It's on high. We'll switch between high and low. And check the voltage while it's charging. Slowly climbing. And the thing about this charger is the potential from the wall is 110 volts, and you're just pulse charging, I guess you could say, the batteries, and they'll absorb as much as they can. That's why I like the timer, because you're not going to push them too hard if you forget about it. And the thing about you got to decide how much current you want to push, and when you decide that, you can decide what size you want your capacitors to be. This will also desulfate batteries that are a little weak, because it pushes the voltage up higher than standard chargers will push it up, and which will break down the sulfate on the plates of the batteries. Thank you for watching.